Hello, everybody. I am Simona Mainini with Feng Shui for Architecture, and I would like to share with you some insight about the importance of entrances and gates in buildings in Feng Shui. But before we get to that point, I would like to invite you to our Feng Shui certification courses, beginning one, that starts this month in April. And you can find the link on our website at Feng Shui Training Center. I'm also going to leave it down below here, and you can also find it at the end of the video. I'm looking forward to see you there. We're going to meet every morning, every Saturday morning for 6 straight weeks, and we're going to explore different aspects of Feng Shui. We're going to have 3 courses this year. We only present the certification live webinar once a year because there are 3 courses. So we'll have beginning, intermediate, and advanced course. And by the end of the 3rd course, you'll receive the certification. Also, if you cannot make the live webinar, this program is available in video, self-study video. And the bonus with the self-study video is that you have a meeting with me after each video, a one-to-one meeting to review your case study and to answer your questions. So also I'm going to post the link for that down at the box here below and at the end of this video. So let me share with you a little bit about what the gates, what the doors to the building really mean in Feng Shui. For example, they are in the old books. Let me preface that. In the old books, they talk about 5 types of entrances. And the 5 types of entrances you consider really, really well exemplified in the Forbidden City. So there is the main gate, which is the gate that is at the front, is the main gate. And that's not really a gate like we have in our homes where you have maybe, 2 metal partition that opens. These gates that they refer to is actually a building with a garrison of soldiers. They would check whoever is entering the Forbidden City and so on and so forth. So it's actually a building. It's not really the gate like a door, but they still call it a gate. And then there are the secondary gates, because of course, along the perimeter wall, you might have an east gate, a west gate, a north gate. And so there would be other entrances, and also different dignitaries would use different entrances. For example, the emperor would come through a certain entrance that was just reserved for him, while other dignitaries of a certain rank would use certain doors, and other dignitaries of other ranks will use other doors. And this is a little bit different than what we have in our building today, of course. So going back to those list of 5 buildings that I was mentioning, so there is the main gate, the side gates, and then there are the delivery doors. And the delivery doors are usually used by they're the service door through which they would deliver maybe wood or coal for the winter, or they would deliver certain supplies of food. So they were service entrances, but they also had an importance in Feng Shui because they also would move the qi, right? And then of course they would have the main door to a building. If you think about the Forbidden City, they talk about the gates, but then within the city you have multitude of buildings. So each of these buildings would have their own entrance. And then of course inside each building, there would be rooms like any buildings. And then you would have doors to go to each of these rooms. So as you can see, there is a variety of different doors. And yet again, this was what was happening 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Our buildings are different because, first of all, it depends on the typology of the building. We might have residence, single family residence, where you would have the entry door, you would have maybe a door from the garage, or if the garage is attached to the house, then the garage would count as an entrance, and then the door from the garage to the house would count as an entrance. Or perhaps you have a detached garage, and so the garage maybe is at the back, and there would be a door at the back of the house. So when you exit the garage, then you can enter the house through a separate entrance. And this is just in the single family residence. Think about if you have an apartment building. You will have the main entrance to the building per se, and then there will be individual entrances to each of the units. But also in apartment building, you might have a garage underground or on the bottom floor, and then there would be elevator that takes you up to the floor. And so that one also will count as a point of entry. And then we go to more complicated buildings like commercial buildings, like a shopping center, for example. You might have multiple entrances. I'm thinking, for example, the Century City shopping center that is just here. There are a multitude of entrances. It takes up a city block, literally, and there is an entrance from each side. And also there are garages underground with elevators that go up, multiple elevators that go up. So there are multiple point of entries. If you have a store, then the entry to your store will count as well. Gated community, depending on the structure and the design of the entry gate, that might count as an entrance or may not. Corporate buildings, medical buildings. Bigger the building, the more entrances you have, the more complicated they become. But generally speaking, all the entrances are important because they bring the chi from outside inside. And so they are pretty much like the mouth on a body, where you have the food and the air entering and energizing it. So in the same way, the door energizes the chi of the building. And it is different, it's very different from a window, because the door implies that some human is walking through it, while instead we don't go through windows. I mean, we might go through windows, but generally we don't. And so when we enter the door, we activate the entrance, and that's what is the big difference between a door and a window. And also, this is, just realize that so far we only talk about the different design typology and what we use them for. In Feng Shui, we also have a whole other dimension that has to do, for example, with the direction of a building. And the directions is not just the 8 direction that we have in our compass. In the Chinese compass, which is with this one over here, we have at least 24 directions, because these compasses were designed before the compasses that we have today. And so instead of dividing them in 8 directions, they were dividing them based on the stem and branches of the Chinese calendar, which actually reflect all the different phases of the seasons. And so they end up being 24 of them. And so much, that's already a lot. But what does it mean in practical purposes? 2 things. First of all, then a house might have different orientation, both in the position of the entrance, but also in the orientation of the house, which define its energy. And also that each of us is built with a, different energy imprint, which we call the BaGua, or a triagram. And so based on our personal BaGua or personal triagram, certain direction might be more supportive for us than others. And so the location of a door in a building could be one of your good direction, or could be one of your bad direction, or could be, if there is a family living there, could be supportive for one member of the family and not supportive for the other members of the family. And so perhaps it's good to have more than one entrance that you can choose from. Sometimes, if you're living in an apartment and you only have one way in and way out, hopefully it's a good one, because otherwise there isn't that much that we can do about it. But on the other hand, also we need to keep into account the time that a building was constructed, because that will affect the energy imprint of the house. And so the location where the door is can also have certain beneficial or not so beneficial effects based on that. And so there is all this intricacy of different aspects that affects our entry door, not just the design, the architectural design. And that's all part of what we learn in our Feng Shui certification program. And so we start with the design, and then we in the first course, and then in the second course we talk about the compatibility and what is good for us based on our year of birth, which direction are more favorable, not just for the entrance, but also for the bedroom, for the kitchen, for the home office. All those rooms, they are particularly important in Feng Shui. And it's really interesting because in the old book, they literally spend a lot of time talking about, based on somebody triagram, birth triagram, which direction of a door could lead to successful career, or which direction can lead to successful marriage, or having children, or good health, or even not so good health. And so all of these things are actually pretty much directly related to our birth triagram, and also the way it relates to our buildings triagrams and the orientation. So these are all things that we also cover in the second class. And then in the third class, the advanced course, we talk about the energy of the building and how to balance the energy of the building and the quality of the energy of the building, not just at the entrance, but also in every other room. So I would like you really to invite you to attend our live webinar here in April. It's actually a special occasion because I can only teach that is a live webinar once a year. But if you cannot make the live webinar and you're still interested in the certification courses, they're also available in video, in self-study videos, with a meeting with me at the end of each video to review your case study, answer your questions. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you for the live webinar, or for our meeting after a video course. And I'm going to leave you the information for both the link to the live webinar page and the self-study video page down here below, in the box here below, and also at the end of this video. And I'm looking forward to see you there. And in the meantime, you have a wonderful springs, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye.